Hello everybody, time for a super pre-modern mail day. It's going to be absolutely huge because there are 4 packages and in total we have got several hundred cards. I haven't counted them really. I think it's about 300 or so, maybe 200 and something. But the most important thing is that this is a pre-modern mail day and I actually didn't have those on the channel. I decided to get a little bit deeper into pre-modern because I know that most of you are here for the old school content, but we will also have pre-modern as well. And today we have got this package from Card Kingdom first. The first card is definitely notable. This is Phantom Nishoba. I remember when I played against those phantom creatures. We've got Phantom Centaur, as you know, and I think there is a Phantom common as well in green, but I don't remember what it is. And I always thought its ability is so powerful because you cannot easily kill it. You know, you must use some special removal and you know, if you drop it very early in your reanimated deck, which I'm actually going to be using it for, or in an Oath of Druids deck, it's very difficult to stop. This particular copy is having some trouble with ink. I think with the black ink it's a little bit off, but well, it makes it unique, so I definitely do like it and just admire the old golden frame, which is foil. Is just amazing. I absolutely love it. You know, sometimes paying extra for having a foil card can be something that you're maybe reluctant to do, but you know, I always remember those examples of cards that I bought, and for instance we have got this Lynn Seavey. I bought her for $15 and then I thought, oh yes, that's definitely quite expensive, I need to splash out on that, but as you know now it's about $200 or something. So you know, if I don't like it I can always trade it for non-foil cards. Easily one of those can be a playset of non-foils, so I am happy that I did get it. Then we have got Hearth. I'm sorry, I'm not very well familiar with how to pronounce this word, but you know, those charms, oh, I like them. I like them for the symbolic art. I like them for just the, so to say, quintessential abilities that they represent. So they are the epitome of the color that they represent. And, you know, I always had this idea of making a charm deck. And I definitely think that this deck is not going to be very playable, but at least I can try. So I like them a lot. I will try to use them in Goblins. Dust Bowl. In Premodern, it's interesting because it is probably not the best, let's say, not the best card because there are not so many non-basics in Premodern, but yeah, it could definitely be good. So with those cards, with those cheaper cards like this one, I never think twice about the quality I'm going to get, about the condition that I'm going to choose. So if it's a cheaper card, I just always go for near mint. If these are some other cards, I will actually think twice, you know, about getting the most expensive copy, because again, I'm just a player slash collector, so even if I do collect some cards, it's mostly to have them as players' copies, as opposed to, let's say, having something graded and, I don't know, investing in order to sell them later. So, one more package from Card Kingdom. So we have got Wastelands here. We've got Wastelands, and again we have got this dragon token, which I don't actually need. If you remember whether they had square corner tokens or not, please let me know, because I think that they didn't used to have them. I do have a nice goblin token from them, and this one is just square corners. I don't know, doesn't feel right. So yeah, like that. Sorry, dragon. So yes, Wastelands, This is the highlight of this particular package. Wasteland is a very good example, you know, speaking of card value, of a card that got annihilated with the reprint. And that's probably for the best currently for us players, because I always wanted to have a set of these, and now I do. Port, I just love the art. It is amazing. I like Mercadian masks. This is the set that was in Type 2. This was the standard set when I started to play Paper Magic. So we had Mercadian masks, and I actually joined when Prophecy was the most recent set, and I bought the cards from Prophecy. So yes. Anyway, this was my first booster. But yes, the port was ubiquitous. Everybody played it. It's such a good card. And it can also be handy to tap your opponent's City of Brass. Don't forget about that. Next, we had Unmask. Unmask is an iconic card. Very, very powerful, as you understand. And, you know, these alternative casting costs proved to be more powerful and versatile than the creators expected, probably. So they are definitely still popular. Very nice. Like it a lot. Next, we've got one more Card Kingdom package, and that was quite a complicated story with it. It was not from FedEx, it was from UPS, and it took me a long time to go through customs with this one. And you know what the problem was? The problem was that there are several cards that have more than 4 copies. And you know, it's not that customs officers play Magic and are familiar with the definition of a playset. It's simply that these are the rules, and if you have some things in your customs declaration and the quality of them, the quantity of them exceeds 4, then it may be counted as a kind of a commercial party, as they call it. And not party, of course, I mean order, yes, consignment, if you wish. And as a result, it can definitely be difficult. So yeah, I had to provide a list that I compiled manually with a link to every single card that there was. And I had to explain why I had to get these cards. So yeah, you love Carmilla. What is that? Where are the hinged cases? Okay, well, no worries, no worries. I'm not the biggest fan of that. And yeah, that's interesting because you had these, and I don't know, probably you told me, why did you choose to order 3 times from us? So here is your card. But well, okay, that's fine. Again, I don't mind. I don't mind. I think this is also fine, you know, even if I decide to ship or buy list some cards to somebody, that's fine to use. Okay, anyway, back to the cards. Here we have got some cheaper cards. Not all of them are super cheap, but still. Oh, we've got the amazing Waterfront Bouncer. The foil, you know, this effect, I don't know the right name for it, but as you can see, the foil printing here is somewhat broken, and it usually is broken around those parts. And in, you know, specifically I'm talking about the place where the picture stops, like that, so to say. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, Waterfront Bouncer, nice for my blue and green Madness deck. Then we have got a lot of foil basics from the 7th edition. I still think that these are probably too cheap for what they are, because it is such an iconic set. This is the first foil basic lands, the first, so to say, core set that had basic lands. Well, the first expansion, right? Because in Urzus you didn't have foil basics in Saga. Yeah, they reprinted them later, but this was the arena promo. So yes, I think that this is definitely something that deserves some more attention and more love, but yeah, I don't know. To me, they're cheap, so I want to have them for my decks. So here we are. Miscalculation, a card that I didn't appreciate. I bought a deck. It was named Tombstone. right? Urza's Saga, I think, deck? No, it couldn't have been Urza's Saga deck. Right, okay, I am making stuff up perhaps, because, yeah, I did have this, but I'm not sure that miscalculation was there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, I never liked miscalculation, but now I see that the effect is decent and, you know, cycling does work well. It can work on the fluctuator deck. Uktabi Orangutan. Know the story with this card? No comment here. Just bought it for sideboard. This card, I remember that people said it could be playable in some Madness decks. I wasn't really a fan of it, but then I saw the price. I said, yeah, why not buy this? Centaur Garden, really iconic, right? We've got several of these. We've got Barbarian Ring, we've got the blue Cephalid Coliseum, right? Phantom Centaur, we've just discussed the bigger, you know, version of that, which is Phantom Nishoba. So that's nice, yeah. And also 5/3 protection from black is not that bad. Creatures are really decent. I don't know. When I look back at the different formats of Magic, I think that the spells are definitely very well balanced, both in old school and pre-modern. Well, with some exceptions, of course, some crazy mana acceleration and such. And I think that creatures are the highlight of pre-modern, because creatures are definitely fair. They have interesting abilities. They are not overcosted for some kinds of abilities that they have. And to me, probably this is the best part in pre-modern. I'm just trying to say that they have very, very good balance between creatures and spells. So in old school Magic, creatures are mostly terrible. Nowadays, creatures are overpowered and spells are mostly quite weak. So I think that, you know, this is ideal, and that's a pity that they decided to go much further with those creatures and the power creep. Genesis, so yeah, about the condition. As you have noticed, I have a lot of cards that are in a played condition. They're actually HP cards, heavily played, from ABU Games and Card Kingdom. And yeah, for Card Kingdom, this condition is called good. Yeah, it's just G. And yeah, it's not terrible. I can definitely live with it. I know that if I'm going to sell them, I will sell them at a lower price. But I'm not currently looking at that, not currently willing to do this. So yes, you know, when it comes to basic lands, the difference between them, between the old basic lands, in terms of price, is amazing. You can have some lands that will cost, let's say, $3, $4, $5 like these. You can have the same type of basic land. We always know that Island is the most expensive one, right? But you can have some artists that have some special art, or maybe they will have something really unusual on the basic land, or maybe it's just an artist that people mostly enjoy, and this particular piece will be incredibly expensive. So this is not necessarily about artists, right? Because pretty much everybody knows that John Avon is one of the best artists that paints basic lands, but at the same time his basic lands are not the most expensive ones sometimes. So yes, that's actually very interesting. So here we've got a ton of 7th edition basic lands, and again the same cards. Bearscape, not a card that I actually remember from back in the day, but you know, when you have got some cards that can provide you with extra resources, that's nice. And also I think that some people are dreaming about making a Bears deck. So yeah, there's that. Merfolk Looter, I'm not even a fan of this particular art, even though it's the oldest one. Well, this is of course Ron Spencer, has a really unique style. Can definitely recognize him by looking at the, you know, muscled creatures and you know, this creepy art style, but in a good way. So I don't know. The new Merfolk Looter is also fine. Unsummon foil, so it's 7th edition foil, which is not a basic land, will definitely fetch a premium. It's very difficult to find. These cards are just amazing, and look at them, how beautiful they are. Black border. Yeah, no comment here. Again, a ton of these. Oh, that's a very nice one. I always liked this particular island. This one, however, I'm not a fan, but I still have them, so why not? And yeah, a couple more unsummons with white border, also nice. By the way, they just look so fresh, even though they are exactly 20 years old. So next we have we got one more? No, that's all from Card Kingdom. The biggest package is from ABU Games. So there is the good old USPS package. And here we go. A ton of cards, mostly staples. All of them are Premodern. Again, some foil basics just for fun. Okay. Not really in the mood to wait and try and open those things. Okay. So, alright. So, as I have imagined, we've got about 200 cards here. Even the card box says that. So, okay, what are the most expensive cards? Let's just dive straight into that. Look at the cards that they decided to put in those special sleeves. Okay, right. Oh yeah, these are the special numbered cards, right? This is what I like about ABU Games. So we've got the ports. These are the 3 ports that I need for the playset. We've got Oath of Druids, the English copy. I also have several Japanese copies. Oath of Druids is a card that I can't say that I'm a fan of it, but does have some interesting synergy. Oh wait, there is an old school card. I completely forgot about that. And that card is Stone World. So Stone World, I already have 1 copy, the Italian one, but I recently played this deck in a tournament and I had the rack, 4 copies and 1 copy of Stone World, but I like Stone World so much that I decided that I probably need a 2nd copy. And I decided to get the English one actually because not everybody knows the text, and I would also sometimes like to look at the English version. It's still in the comfort zone for me, so to say. So if it's below $100, I can buy a 2nd copy, you know, just to have it, and I wouldn't necessarily opt for the cheaper Italian version. So here we have got, oh wait, Oath of Druids. Yes, I did have a Japanese copy. I believe only 1 of them. This might be the case. Yeah, okay, anyway. So, forest... Oh, wait, they had a forest in the sleeve with a number? Okay. Yes, and we have got the Maro Sorcerer. It's not a card that I, know very well, but it's definitely a good one, and it has Shroud, so I'm thinking about using it in my deck of Reanimation, or again Oath of Druids. Why not? Next, what have we got? Yes, I've got a lot of these filter lands. I already have some. So here are the filter lands. I'm not a fan of those filter lands, to be really honest with you, because they will just give you different colors of mana. So it's good for gold cards, so to say, but it's not necessarily what you need if you play a deck that has got a lot of same mana. Then we've got the bidding. It was such a pity I bought them right after the release of Modern Horizons, and Modern Horizons bidding was already very cheap. It's like $1 and $1.50 for a foil copy. And the original bidding was still quite expensive. It still didn't go down. Of course, this art is much better, you know, no arguing here. But yeah, sometimes this happens, but that's fine. And Smother is not a card that I liked. I remember when Onslaught came out, and you know, sometimes there is this emotion that you have when in Type 2, because I still cared about Type 2 back in those days, a new set comes out and it slowly replaces the set that you loved before, which just rotates out, and yeah, it's just such a pity. I remember when Invasion came out, that meant that Urza's block would be out of standard, and that was terrible. I liked Urza so much, and Invasion I didn't get it back in those days, and only later did I start to appreciate it. And Onslaught I still don't really like. I don't like those, you know, tribal things. And even though I do play them, there are interesting things. You know, it's not something that I enjoyed a lot. But it is to note that the Onslaught block replaced the Invasion block. So back then I was already starting to like Invasion slightly in some way. And after that, after Invasion, we had Odyssey, right? So Odyssey is definitely one of my favorite blocks. And then Onslaught came, yeah, and people were smothering my Mongrel, and I hated it because I knew that Mongrel couldn't be dark banished, it couldn't be terrored, so that's what is important. That Smother, yes, could still kill it. The Crusade, oh, that's a great card for my goblins. Pyrostatic Pillar to punish some other decks. Stifle only one copy. Still regret selling my Dreadnoughts. Melt Down, quite an expensive card some way. Undiscovered Paradise, really underrated, I think. Has a unique ability, and if you need a 5-color deck, which is fast, some kind of a combo deck, you know, this is not a huge drawback, so that's very nice. This one, and again, it is a reserved list card with a really unique and powerful ability from Weatherlight. You know, those sets, so that'll be what? Weatherlight, Visions, Mirage. These are kind of a lost sets for me because I don't know them very well, and since I didn't really play back then, I don't have such a strong sense of nostalgia for them. So it's easy for me to understand how some people feel when they're actually not focused on those sets, right? They say, oh, I didn't play back then, I didn't really have much nostalgia. So that's really interesting because yes, 93, 94 we all know and respect very well. Then, you know, you also know the cards that you played, the cards that were in the Type 2 when you played. But if we go further, yeah, maybe, you know, it's interesting. I do like it, I respect it, but I don't have such fond memories. I don't have, you know, so much emotion when it comes to it. Okay, a lot of lands. Yeah, we have discussed those. We haven't seen this island. It's really beautiful, Rob Alexander. Oh, I really like the sea here. It gives you this sense, you know, you can almost hear the breeze. You can feel the breeze and hear the waves crashing against the shore. It's really nice. I like this art. I didn't actually know about it. Mountains, you know, in terms of mountains, there can be very interesting things, but many of those are pretty simple and bland. I don't know, when we just look at the art planes, I like this particular art. Again, 7th edition. This is a beautiful swamp. This is a beautiful swamp with this Phyrexian Obliterator. Really looks like it. But yes, of course, these are just plans. Still very nice copies. I bought this as heavily played. Oh, okay, there is a scratch, so that's definitely a heavily played card. And again, look, we've got this thing. It can be, you know, usually here, usually in the upper part, can be in the center. Golden Wish, just decided to buy it. I know it is overcosted, 5 mana, but can be interesting. Rare of Revelation, another foil card, a really nice one. Also has flashback, even though there are different colors. That's an interesting card, I guess. Smother, Smother again, foil, this case. That is a Chinese, wait, what am I saying? Is it Chinese? Yes, it is Chinese. So this is a Chinese engineered flag. What I like here is the very, very bold font. It reminds you of Portal, right? Because if you compare it to the 7th edition, yeah, that's probably not the best thing to compare, but yeah, if you just look at them side by side, you see that, yeah, they are printed with different fonts. Okay, so yeah, this is the Oath of Druids in Japanese this time. Started learning Japanese, you know, one of the things I really wanted to do. Still cannot read a lot of those things. But yes, this is just En Chian Tu. In Chianto. Yes, and then we have got the, in brackets, the kanji, so the character which is pronounced in a way that I don't understand, because you have to know that. Okay, wait. Did I accidentally get more than a playset of Rishadan ports? I'm afraid I did, so I actually have to audit that. Yes, this will be an interesting thing. Maybe I will put it in another deck. Initially, this was for my Goblins deck, but yeah, I'll see. Well, the abduction is for the combo, you know, the Drake. Lobotomy. Oh, I fear this card a lot. And there is a nice original version in Ice Age. Oh, Lobotomy was such a powerful card, you know. A lot of people played blue and black, and these are the control colors of those days. And I also had a Psychotalk deck. It's not that I play it now. Kamal Therapy, an amazing card, Goblin Purse. And here are the goblins. I already have them. I have them in the modern frame as reprints, so I decided to replace those. You know, ideally I should have 0 cards with a new frame. So this is my goal. I'm going to find some more cards. I just discovered that they have 2 decks which contain those cards, which contain the modern cards, so it's not something that I'm a fan of. Choke, a nice sideboard card. Lobotomy, the original one. Oh, I don't know. Even though it's Thomas Baxa, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Maybe I like the old one as well. And when I say the old one, of course, I mean the Invasion one, because that is the first card I saw, but chronologically it's, of course, later. So, Gamekeeper. Oh, I've just noticed that he's surrounded by a ton of turtles. Turtles? Tortoise? Oh, very nice. Okay. Also a card I didn't know. Drake. So, there's your combo. As you know. Then Helix. I already have the Helix in the gold bordered. I think that I maybe should get rid of that gold bordered deck of Kaibudi. I don't know. Because it's certainly a nice thing to have, but first of all, it's not really complete. So there are some gold bordered and non-gold bordered cards inside, yeah. The consistency is already broken. This is an interesting card. The problem is that it works not only for you, but for your opponent as well. So whether it's a good idea, I don't know. To have, we've got Abduction, which is the original version. Jared's Verdict. So yes, again, why Abduction and not Control Magic? You know the answer, because there is this very nice combo with the Drake. Maro Siege Gang Commander, the original one. Altar of Dementia. It is a card that I feel is only going to go up in value. It is a card that I decided to get now, you know, before it's too expensive, because before it's out of reach. And as you can see, I try to get many different cards, many different staples to brew something maybe, but it's not easy to find Premodern players. It is more difficult to find Premodern planes than the old school 93, 94 ones, and even though we do have a community, it's not always that I can meet people locally, but at least you can play that in you know, kitchen table matches, because playing old school and kitchen table matches will either be too strong with power and such, or too weak if you just decide to use the creatures. But these can actually battle against some modern decks if they're not top tier decks. So it's still something that is closer to, Magic as we have it nowadays. Graveborn Muse, a very nice card, great ability. Don't underestimate losing life trading it for some other resources. I remember that when I started playing, I would play against a Necropotence deck, for example, and this player will usually just lose a lot of life, and Ghost will easily beat me because I had the Rebels deck and they had some, homebrew weenie deck, and I just was really happy that when I lost, I said, oh, I managed to get him down to 1 life, and I didn't really understand much about the board state and so on. So yes, anyway, the pile drivers that will be replacing the new frame ones. Kamal Fist of Cross. Okay, so that is the thing. You may watch my video that I've got on my channel, the review of different online stores. So there is ABU Games, Card Kingdom, TCG Player, sorry, of course, Star City Games, and Troll and Toad. So unfortunately, even though I'm a fan of ABU Games, the heavily played cards that they have are perhaps of the lowest standard. So you should be ready for it, that the heavily played, the HP copies, will vary in quality greatly. So for example, okay, so here are 3 cards from the same set. You have got Steely Resolve, which is probably the best of them. So yes, of course, it is heavily played, so there is some damage and so on. There are some tiny nicks on the surface. This one is absolutely horrible. Yeah, you feel that it's a card that has been shuffled many times without a sleeve, even though that was already 2002. Yeah, so maybe somebody played it, I don't know, in a draft, maybe in kitchen table Magic, something like that. It also has some dirt on the surface. So I don't know, it still is a heavily played copy. This is not a damaged copy because we once had copies that are very close to damaged, even though they were described as heavily played. But yes, I would say that ABU Games is probably a bit less consistent in the lower conditions. But that's fine. And again, this one, Kamal Fist of Crosser, yeah, it is okay-ish, right? It doesn't have those terrible signs of wear around the edges, but the card is very, very dirty. I don't know what would be the good word to describe it. It's just very, very bleak compared even to this one. And it's like that there is this layer of something on it, of some very, I don't know, dark dust. I don't know how to even describe that. Anyway, so no, that is fine because this is what I expect when I get cards like that, HP copies. So that's fine. Reanimate. Oh, this is the Battle Royale. Is it Battle Royale? I think it is. Copy. It's nice, actually. The white border here is a kind of an advantage. It's actually more expensive than getting some other copies. And yeah, the white background here and the white border, they're actually a nice combination. Shattering Pulse, again, some random cards that I will use for sideboard. Elves, I will have an Elves deck, definitely not a tournament worthy one because there is no Gaia's Cradle. I don't have it, unfortunately. Sea Moon, again a reprint with a different art. This one is from Invasion. I like it. I like this a lot. It's just, Sandstorm, but better because it can work in a different situation, not only when the creatures are attacking. Burning Wish, I just felt like getting it maybe for some combo deck. I used to play Burning Wish when it was in my Goblin Charbelcher deck. Yes, a legacy deck that I played. Death Wish, well, the name itself is quite interesting. Not the same as, Burning Wish, Cunning Wish, they're just Death Wish. Yeah, so that's an expensive card in terms of life and 3 mana. And don't forget, we can just use Demonic Tutor in old school. Well, it doesn't give you a card from the sideboard. For that, we have got Ring of Maruf. Yeah, Pure, yes, small things. Some more Golden Wish, not the okay. Certainly didn't need that. Now I have more than a playset. Again, bad auditing on my side when I was composing different orders. Withered Wretch for copies. I am not thinking of making a zombie / cleric deck, but I wanted to in the past. Yeah, I don't know. But it's just a nice card that has some important ability. This is again kind of a sideboard card. Centaur Garden, one more copy, which is not foil. Some more filter lands. The Crusades for my goblins. Again, alternative cost. And now I've got a playset of Reanimates, because I might be taking this deck to a kind of an event. In the past I used Life Death, and the split card definitely doesn't have any benefit in the reanimated deck. It's just more expensive in terms of mana, 2 instead of 1. Warmth. The Levomancers are so nice. Absolutely love this card. Couldn't afford the play set. Bone Shredder. Oh, this one has a funny name in Spanish. That sounds really funny. In Russian, I'm not even going to say what it means. But I've been trying to track the Spanish copy. That's very difficult. But yeah, the card itself actually is just Necrotal, which has flying, but also Echo, and is cheaper than Necrotal. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is the original Seamoon. Also very nice. Oh, I just noticed that this is Randy Gallagher's. That's cool. Price of Progress. Anarchy. Anarchy can be a nice card for a sideboard. Didn't know about that one. Flaring Pain. Damage can't be prevented. Can be useful against some combo decks, against some decks that circle of sideboard circle of protection against you when you're playing goblins, for example. But we will also have the Crusade, right? The Goblin Crusade, Dralnus Crusade, right, is the name. Then Cross and Verge. Oh, you know, these 2-for-1 things are always very powerful. They are much better than you initially think. This card was played in Mirror's Wake, actually. Stronghold Gambit. You can see some Mogs running around here with weapons. And this is an interesting way to perhaps combat some anti-graveyard strategies, as you can see. So this is something that might work. This is something that might work in the reanimated deck. In case your opponent just blocks your graveyard, you can simply try and cheat the creature into play. Okay, some more filters. Hull Breach. Again, 2-for-1, you see? Just pure card advantage. Very nice. Dragon Breath. There can also be some interesting combos with it. Some more prosthetic pillars. Engineered Plague. So, if I'm playing goblins, I definitely don't want to see that. And, oh, that's terrible. Poor goblins, I've just noticed what they do to them. So, yes, if I play the Rock, for example, the black and green deck, and I do actually have it, then it'll be nice. Creator Helion is an interesting one. Deals 4 damage, so this is like a part of a Wildfires, I forgot. I think it's Wildfire card, which will make you sacrifice 4 lands as well. But, it's always good when there is a big creature that comes into play and destroys all other creatures. There are actually a lot of creatures like that, a lot of similar effects. That's always nice. Okay, there's one more Firestorm. Smother. Okay, how many copies do I have now? Again, too many, I think. Dragon Breath. I've got the beautiful foil copy as well. Price of Progress, some more of them. Cunning Wish went down in price a little bit. So I decided to get it. Why not? Those wishes are always nice. And one more Nishoba, one more Gambit, and a couple of filters. So there is that. Thank you for sitting through all of that. This is still much shorter than my video where I talked about my huge package of 93, 94 cards. So you see, Premodern is an interesting format. it is something that is still not, you know, a complete luxury. However, it will be difficult to get all of the decks that you want, just because there are some reserved list cards that are, well, out of bounds for many players, myself included. And you know, there is this idea that spending as much money on Premodern as you would on, let's say, old school Magic is not something that you do, and I actually know that a lot of people have the same opinion as I do. When you spend money on old school Magic 93, 94, when you're getting the useless pyramids that I got last week, for instance, that's something that you can live with. You understand it's a part of history. Yes, you definitely want to collect it, but you know, collecting old Premodern, it's not something that is easily doable. And you know, these things may go down in price. Premodern maybe become unpopular. I don't know. Maybe it becomes unpopular in the future. Who knows? And you know, even though I have got a lot of Premodern decks, as I have said, I still play it maybe, I don't know, 10 times less often than old school. And that's a bit of a pity, because it is a nice format as well. It is a nice format, it's well balanced, it doesn't have, you know, some busted combos and such. It is also nostalgic. It is the silver age of Magic, definitely. And you know, this is still real Magic, right? This is still not something that we have got nowadays with all of those, you know, crazy things and you know, 100% net decking. That's very nice. That's very nice. So, you know, in case you play Premodern, maybe let me know. Maybe we can play Premodern for fun. Why not? It's quite difficult to find players here that are interested in this particular format. But anyway, yes, enough ranting. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you sitting through that once again. And I will see you with more Premodern videos as well. We will have some deck techs. I will be showcasing the decks that I've got. I will be discussing some things, looking at the art and so on. That's definitely something that we're going to be doing in the future. Thank you once again, and I'll see you around. Bye.